It's Friday, May 25th, 2007. There are just 529 days left until the 2008 election. It's noon in New York, 9 a.m. in California. I'm Will, and this is Political Lunch. Welcome back to Political Lunch. Yesterday was an important day on Capitol Hill, especially for those members of Congress running for president. Because of that, we've decided to save my conversation with Joanne from Rocket Boom about European politics for a different time. On Wednesday, we reported on immigration reform and the skirmishes that have broken out among GOP hopefuls on that subject. Today's subject is Iraq, and last night's late-night vote to pass an Iraq War funding bill version 2.0. You'll recall that President Bush vetoed the first version of that bill, which contained a timetable for withdrawing American troops from Iraq. The new bill was no less contentious. It contained no timetable, but rather a series of vague benchmarks that need to be met to ensure continued American commitment in Iraq. Some called this a compromise, others a capitulation. So today, we'll follow through on a question posed Wednesday by MSNBC commentator Keith Olbermann in his program Countdown. This clip was posted on YouTube yesterday and quickly picked up by hundreds of other websites. It's no secret that Olbermann is a staunch opponent of President Bush and his policy on Iraq. But whether or not you agree with Olbermann, there is perhaps no more important question for our presidential candidates, both Democrat and Republican, than the one raised by Olbermann in these remarks. Take a look.
And where are the Democratic presidential hopefuls this evening? See they not that to which the Senate and House leadership has blinded itself? Judging these candidates based on how they voted on the original Iraq authorization or waiting for apologies for those votes, that is ancient history now. The Democratic nomination is likely to be decided tomorrow. The talk of practical politics, the buying into of the president's dishonest construction, fund the troops or they will be in jeopardy, the promise of tougher action in September, is falling not on deaf ears, but rather falling on Americans who already told you what to do and now perceive your ears as deaf, as closed to practical politics. Those who seek the Democratic nomination need to, for their own political futures and with 1,000 times more solemnity and importance for the individual futures of our troops, denounce this betrayal, vote against it, and if need be, unseat Majority Leader Reid and Speaker Pelosi if they continue down this path of guilty, fatal acquiescence to the tragically misguided will of a monomaniacal president.
So now that the votes have been cast and the bill has passed without a timetable for troop withdrawal, let's take a look at where the field of presidential hopefuls came down on this issue. First, we'll start with the two Democratic senators mentioned by Keith Olbermann in that clip, Chris Dodd and former Senator John Edwards. Those two have been the most forthright in their opposition to a war funding bill without a timetable. Senator Chris Dodd offers this video explanation on his website.
As you know, I've been opposed to this open-ended process, the half measures. We need clarity, we need bold decisions here. It's time that we say that we're going to complete that redeployment process within a year.
And Senator Edwards, who has had the most consistent bring them home now message of the top three Democratic candidates, sent this email this morning saying, after tonight, one thing is now perfectly clear. No one else is going to end this war for us. Bush will not listen. Congress will not fight. There's no one left to lead the country now but we the people. Edwards went on to urge his supporters to spend the weekend gathering letters to send to Congress and the White House, and also to mail care packages to the troops in Iraq and Afghanistan. Senators Clinton and Obama said little about the bill before last night's vote, but ended up voting against the measure. In a statement on her website, Senator Clinton said she voted against the bill because it fails to compel the president to give our troops a new strategy in Iraq. On his website, Senator Obama's message was similar. He described the vote as a choice between validating the same failed policy in Iraq that has cost us so many lives and demanding a new one. Among the Democrats, Senator Joe Biden was the notable exception in last night's vote. He voted in favor of the revised war funding bill and explained his decision this way. The practical reality is that for now, those of us who want to change course in Iraq don't have the votes to override the president's veto, And I believe that as long as we have troops on the front lines, we must give them the equipment and protection they need. The other Democratic candidates were united in their opposition to a war funding bill without a timeline. Ohio Representative Dennis Kucinich continues to point out that he is the only Democratic candidate to have consistently opposed the war. And New Mexico Governor Bill Richardson is leading a petition campaign to deauthorize the war, an approach he says is a veto-proof method to bring the troops home now. GOP candidates were united in their support of the bill. So again, it has been a long week. It was a week in which immigration was hotly debated but left unresolved. A week in which new poll numbers put American support for the Iraq War at an all-time low. A week in which a Democrat-controlled Congress failed to act on its mandate to end that war. And a week in which President Bush told the American people to brace for a particularly bloody summer in Iraq. So after a week like that, what do the members of Congress do? They go on vacation. Capitol Hill is closed for business next week for the annual Memorial Day recess. I can't help but think that our troops in Iraq, all 160,000 of them, wouldn't mind a week off themselves. But it won't be all beer and barbecues for our presidential hopefuls. You can expect them to spend the Memorial Day holiday campaigning for all they're worth, reminding voters of all they've done to support our troops and veterans. Here at the lunch, we'll be taking Monday off, but we're back at the desk on Wednesday. Thanks for watching.